We love hip hop.
Covering this Gucci Mane Pooh Shiesty thing.
I saw it. It's not something I don't really cover stuff like that on my channel. I try to stick. I stick to kind of the business side of music, and then I'll cover like major rollouts and things like that. Sometimes I'll do like a current event, but something like that I'll do in like a YouTube short where I'll just give my opinion in 60 seconds and I'm out of there. Like I won't go too in depth in that stuff. But I know what's going on. You want my take on it?
What I'll do, I'll pull up a video first, and then I want to get your take. I have a couple of videos that we'll review.
Okay.
Let me just pull up some shit over here.
Story a lot of folks talking about this morning. A story a lot of folks talking about this morning. The Atlanta-based rapper Gucci Mane was targeted in a crime while in Dallas, Texas. He was called down there, thought he's going to be meeting up to talk business with a fellow rapper at a recording studio, and then just like that, it turned into what federal prosecutors are calling a coordinated armed takeover. So this happened in January, but it's all now coming to light. Gucci Mane, whose real name is Radrick Davis, agreed to meet with rapper Pooh Shiesty, who was signed to his record label. Prosecutors say Shiesty, whose legal name is Lontrell Williams Jr., wanted out of his contract. Instead of a negotiation, investigators say a group of armed suspects, though, pulled out guns and then took over that meeting. Listen here.
Williams Jr. produced an AK-style pistol and forced one of the victims to sign a release from the recording contract at gunpoint. The remaining conspirators displayed firearms and robbed the other victims of Rolex watches, jewelry, cash, and other high-value items. One of the victims was actually choked by one of the defendants to the point of near unconsciousness.
Yeah, investigators say some of the suspects, as you see in these images, later flexed the stolen jewelry, Rolex watches, and cash on social media. 8 people have already been arrested across Memphis, Nashville, and Dallas, including Williams and his father, Williams being the rapper Pooh Shiesty. They all face federal charges of kidnapping and conspiracy. I mean, some very serious charges here, and these are federal charges. They could be going away for a long, long time, although at this time, there's also a search for a 9th suspect. So
wow.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, they caught him too. They got the 9th suspect already.
Oh, Jay, these guys are making my brain tired, bro. Oh, this is pissing me off, man. This throwing away like opportunities, like it's like you don't like being millionaires and shit, bro.
It's sad. It's very sad. First, let me talk about the Pooh Shiesty angle. He said he forced him to sign paperwork. That means you had a lawyer draft up an agreement. If you had enough sense to have a lawyer draft up an agreement, you should have enough sense to have the lawyer litigate it instead of you taking it into your own hands. This is not 1993. You are not Suge Knight. And you can look at Suge Knight's story and see how that turned out in the long run. Okay? So that's
he thought Gucci was vanilla. He thought Gucci was Vanilla Ice.
Okay? Like he hanging somebody over the balcony. That's mistake number 1. Mistake number 2. What kind of criminal wants to get caught? You committed a crime where there are cameras rolling. It was a business meeting. You have an ankle monitor on, which is tracking your location. You're a convicted felon, which means you shouldn't be around firearms. So nothing in this says I'm a criminal. I'm someone who wants to get away with the crime. Nothing says that. The sadder part is your father is there. That's the sadder part, because not only do you put yourself in harm's way, you put your father in harm's way.
Hold on. Not to interrupt you, brother.
Right, yeah.
His dad, I don't know about being in harm's way. I feel like he might have been more of a co-conspirator, because some of the reports are saying his dad was holding somebody hostage in one room while some of the goons were beating the shit out of somebody in the other room. So it might have not been like, you know, son, how did you get me into this shit? It might have been like, son, let's go get this shit popping.
It could be that. You are right. But who's calling the shots in this situation?
Well,
the son.
The one with the most money.
There you go. So everybody around you is going to move when you say move. And that's not what a boss does. A boss doesn't put the people he loves in a position to lose themselves. And the people who love him or who should love him should never put him in a position to lose himself. Because now who's going to take care of your family? And guess what? That contract was signed under duress. The contract is null and void. So now every time somebody streams first day out, guess who's getting paid?
Gucci.
So that's a double L. So that tells me you got a bunch of people around you who can't tell you the truth. Or you got a bunch of people around you who can't be real enough with you. Or you might not be able to listen to them and let them get through to you that you're making a mistake that's going to cost you financially. And most of all, it's going to cost you time, which is the most valuable resource anybody ever has.
Yeah, and he just came home. Like, you would have thought that he would have been trying to lay low, be as careful as possible, but it just doesn't seem like that was in the cards. Let me play you something, and then I'm going to ask you another question on this topic here.
Yeah.
And this is courtesy of my brother Poetic Flacco. Let me pull this up here. Where's my shit? And big salute to Poetic Flacco.
Yeah.
Where is it? Around here.
Then cooperates, or for example, if Gucci Mane is asked to let's say, yo, he's called to come.
Okay, right here on here.
Right, the jewelry was already gone. It was, it's already been sold at the pawn shop for probably like 2 cents on the dollars. These niggas is broke, they starving, they hungry, right? These is dusty gang members, man. They ain't got shit to live for, man. Listen, man, these niggas sold $1 million jewelry for $10,000, man. These niggas is starving and fucked up. So said he tried to get it back. It was too late. It been sold. Now, we know afterwards that Gucci Mane came online and was, capping, lying, right? Like posting old videos with the jewelry, pretending like the jewelry was still here. Now, I don't want to say Gucci Mane told because I don't think he told. There's videos that exist. But, seeing what Gucci Mane is going to do will be very interesting. Because if Gucci Mane even cooperates, or for example, if Gucci Mane is asked to let's say, yo, he's called to come and testify, do you think Gucci Mane is going to come and testify and say, hey, Pooh Shiesty didn't do this after Pooh Shiesty essentially finessed millions of dollars from out of his hands in his pocket? Because Gucci Mane could have easily took Pooh Shiesty and took him to a major and signed him for the $50 million and probably take 10%. But Pooh Shiesty put that money in Gucci Mane's out pocket Yo Gotti.
I don't feel like I'm watching the right video. I think I am, right? Mm-hmm. But from what I see here, he's talking about if Gucci Mane snitches. Mm-hmm. From what I'm hearing now, his name is in the paperwork saying that, like, yeah, these guys robbed us because he wasn't the only one in the studio. Right? He wasn't the only one in the studio. There was like other executives and stuff like that got their shit robbed. So I feel like he might have been under pressure, like, yo, so what? You're not going to say anything? Like, come on, buddy. Like, this is what we do. We tell, right?
Yeah.
My question to you, does this affect Gucci Mane moving forward? Because if this is true, we can't really listen to them, dig up your dead homie records or all that bullshit that niggas is talking. I got 100 bricks and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and fuck the cops. If you're in paperwork, unless I'm missing something.
All right. It's a few ways to explore this, right? Let's start with will it affect him moving forward? As an executive, I think it's not a good look. I think he's kind of done as an executive. And I don't think it's the snitch, the alleged snitching. I didn't read the paperwork, so I'm not going to call him that. I don't think it's the alleged, him working or identifying anybody. I think it's because everyone on his label, nothing good comes from it. A lot of them wind up incarcerated, a lot of them wind up sick, or some of them have even passed away. Rest in peace. So I think him as an executive hasn't really worked out in the long run. And if you go back and read some of the interviews, he said, I'm letting go all of my artists except for Pooh Shiesty and I think Fujiano. Yes. So I think that was quiet for him. And if he is, in the paperwork and what's alleged is true, he works with street artists. They're not going to sign to him. So I think as an executive, it's over. Now, the other part is, can you go back and listen to the music with the same ears? I think, yeah. I think there's a few rappers who are real. Like what Gucci was rapping about, that's verifiable. People could go do their own homework, right? You brought up some of the stuff. They watched the verses. It's documented. He went to court and had to defend himself for the act that he committed. So I don't think he was lying. I just think in this situation, maybe he felt that was the best move for him is to do what they alleged that he did. So I see it a bit different, man. Sometimes the street codes don't apply. So I don't know. It's a tough one. It depends on what mentality people have. Your mentality will shape your perception.
Listen, Jay, I agree with you, okay? But I'm just going by the perception of somebody like Gucci Mane. I can't see him even moving forward, dropping music, right? Because his fans and where they come from, like the first time I ever heard a Gucci Mane record, I was in like the trench in Scarborough in some girl's crib. There was babies crying in the background and shit like that. And the soundtrack in the background was Gucci Mane. And I was like, who's this? You know what I'm saying?
Soundtrack to the trap.
Exactly. So it's like, I can't see the people who are like akin to his music saying, you know what? You just did a little bit of snitching. You know, they took your jewelry. I understand where you're coming from, dude. Put on that Gucci Mane, man. Don't even worry about it, Gooch. I can't see it, bro. He doesn't have a vast audience that don't give a fuck about that type of shit.
Well, yeah, I agree with you there. I think his audience, like you said, is a street audience, right? But I think he ain't doing music anymore anyway. You know, he drops his mixtapes here and there randomly around Christmas. I don't think that's gonna stop. I think he'll still probably do around the same numbers in stream. He's not a major artist anymore, which is why he's transitioned into that executive role. I think he likely doesn't even see himself as that person. I mean, he said, I think on Power 105 with the Breakfast Club, he doesn't even see himself as that person anymore. So for him, do you think that outside noise bothers him? Probably not.
I think it does.
I don't know.
He just has to act unbothered because it's like, bro, I'm going to have to just pretend like it's cool for me to just ride off into the sunset because at this point I got no choice.
But listen to this, right? If he cared so much about the outside noise, he's not a dummy. He did Fed time. He's fought state cases. He knows any statement that he made to the police would be in that paperwork. He knows that Shiesty's going to have access to that paperwork and put it out. He's not a dummy. So if he really cared about it, he could have been quiet. They didn't need his cooperation. I've read some of the paperwork, how they solved the case. Self-incriminating evidence, the tracker on Pooh Shiesty's ankle, and security footage. They don't need his testimony to get the case done. An idiot could solve that.
Yeah, and at least he can maybe hang his hat on the fact that they didn't need me to snitch to get the arrest done. Like you guys arrested yourself. You may as well just drove over to the police station. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty much.
That's crazy. Well, listen, and I don't know if there's any salutes to go around because on one end, and for me as like an ex-street dude, one end is a guy who's a potential snitch, and then on the other end, there's a knucklehead that just threw his life away. So no salutes to anybody. But
there's no winner here. You're absolutely right. This is a big L for everyone.
Thanks for watching.
If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to check out these other videos on the screen and make sure to like and subscribe.
We love hip hop.